Welcome back everyone again. So, in our previous class, we looked at a functional budget. We talked about the meaning of budget, and the first type of budget we actually looked at is a functional budget. So, we're going to be looking at what are the different classifications of budget under a functional budget. Don't forget, in the last series, I said that a functional budget is a budget that cuts across different operations in the organization. The definition says a functional budget is a budget developed, can you say, engineered, tailored to capture specific operations or functions in the organization. Now, what are the examples of functional budgets? Number one, we have sales budget. I'm talking about sales budget, as the word implies, is actually to express the turnover we are expecting over a specific period of time. The sales we are expecting to make. For example, a firm that actually produces product XYZ will actually presume that, okay, in January 2022, we should be able to sell 1,000 units of products X, then 1,500 units of product Y, and probably 2,000 units of product Z. These are expressed in units, in quantity. Then don't forget, for every unit sold, there will always be an amount per unit. So let's assume for product X, the amount that is being sold per unit is actually that product X is sold at 20 naira per unit. So invariably, or obviously, that simply means that we'll be expecting a total revenue or a total turnover of 20,000 naira from product X. And how do we get that? 20 naira amount per unit multiplied by the budgeted quantity that we presume to be able to sell, which is 1,000 units. So we see that sales budget actually are expressed in quantity, units, and in value. The value specifies the total revenue. That is the amount per unit multiplied by the projected unit. So, when we're talking about a functional budget is such that it captures the operations, specific operations that takes place within an organization setting. So, one of those examples that we actually looked at are what? Sales budget, which is expressed in quantity and in value. Another example of functional budget or subcategory of functional budget is what we call production budget. You know, as the word implies, production budget actually will capture the plan and the projection of the organization as regarding the quantity of units per commodity they are planning to produce. So, when we're talking about the production budget, as the word implies, simply means the budget or plan or projection that captures the intention of the organization to produce certain quantity of its product or its commodity. Now, and don't forget that I'm talking about production, there's no way we will not talk about the cost of production, COP. In financial reporting or financial accounting, we refer to this as cost of goods available for sales. That is the cost that is incurred to make this product, to make these goods to actually be available for sale or in a finished product form, such that we'll be able to sell it to the outside world or the consumers. So, production budget can be expressed in quantity and in cost. So, for example now, let's assume that the cost to make product X, as we presume that the sales value is 20 naira the other time, let's assume is 10 naira. Then if you are intending to actually produce, let's say 1,500 units, then we must be expectant to spend nothing less than 15,000 naira as our cost incurred on product X. So, talking about production budget is actually a budget that expresses the production plan of the firm or of the company or organization in quantity and in cost. And don't forget that the cost I mentioned is the production cost or cost of production. Another form of functional budget that we have is what we refer to as service functional budget. Actually, this captures a firm that is engaged in rendering of services. So, as the word implies, functional budget is a budget that is tailored or engineered towards different functions, varying functions that actually take place or occurred in the organization. So, another form of budget we'll be looking at before rounding up this class is another type of budget, which I call the cash budget. The cash budget. The cash budget is the budget that summarizes the cash flow effect of all functional budgets. So, cash budget cuts across, just as functional budget cuts across almost all operations of the firm also. Cash budget is a kind of budget that harmonizes other budgets, in as much they have to do with a cash flow or a cash movement. So a cash flow budget summarizes, cuts across, it harmonizes all other functional budgets, and it actually keeps track of the cash flow effect of all functional budgets. So by the time we are going to be looking at the workings aspect of this, we are going to be getting it very well as many of the students in this classroom.